Hey Chick-fil-A South Roads team members, it's David, your owner-operator here, and today I want to talk to you in our leadership vlog about this idea of feedback. So why do I want to talk about feedback? Really the reason is because as you grow as leaders, as you grow in your influence within organizations, feedback is an essential part of being a great leader. And for most of us, we don't really like providing feedback, right? We don't like to lean into conflict. We don't really like to be the source of negativity. We don't want to be the one that's always correcting people and telling them, what they could do better, what they can do differently. But I want to challenge you because as leaders, if we learn to give great feedback, not only are we going to have better working relationships, but over time, we will find that people will seek you out because they believe that you are a truth teller and that you truly care about helping them grow and develop and be a better individual, be a better worker. And so what I want to do today is I want to give you 5 principles, which if you implement these principles, I think it will make you better at being a truth teller and better at providing constructive feedback to those around you. So the first principle I want to talk about, this idea, is to create safety. When we provide feedback, the first thing that we want to do is make sure that we create a safe environment for those that we're providing feedback to. 3 ways in which we can provide that safety for others is, first off, is to practice humility. A Bible verse I want to share with you is out of Matthew chapter 7, verses 3 through 5, and it says this: "Why do you look at the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, 'Let me take that speck out of your eye,' and behold, the log is in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye." So when we think about providing safety, the first thing we got to do is we just have to practice a humble spirit ourselves. We need to know that we are imperfect and we have our own faults. And I believe when you go into a conversation knowing that you have your own opportunities for growth and you have your own things that you're working on, you begin to talk and share feedback in a way that practices humility, that really makes people feel comfortable and know that you're really there to help them get better and to support them and to help them grow. So practicing humility is important in providing safety. Another aspect of providing safety is really just a simple practice of asking permission. A lot of times when we go to share feedback with people, we just jump straight in. Hey, you need to do this better. Or, hey, I noticed this and you need to change this type of action or behavior because I'm seeing this negative aspect of it. But what if we leaned into those conversations and we just asked a simple question of, hey, today I noticed some opportunities when I saw you working today, or in that conversation, I noticed that there was a few things. Would it be okay for me to share some things with you that I think could help? Or do you mind if I share some feedback to you? Now, isn't that a different approach? Wow, if somebody came up to you and said, hey, would you mind if I shared some feedback with you? How many of us would actually say no? We would probably welcome it. And then again, now we are disarmed. We don't have this feeling of anxiety like, oh, are you about to attack me? Are you about to do something? All of a sudden now we are the ones bringing in the feedback and welcoming the feedback because you've asked us permission. So it's important to maybe ask permission to start off your feedback session. And then the third aspect of creating a safe environment is just sharing feedback in a private setting. What we want to be careful is never to share feedback in a public setting. Now, there's times where something may happen where we need to address it right in the moment, but generally speaking, I think it is a great practice to find opportunities to share feedback in private. I always say it's great to praise in public, but if you're going to criticize and share feedback, try to do that in a private setting, maybe one-on-one, two-on-one, where the person receiving that feedback doesn't feel like they're being attacked or being criticized in front of their peers. And so always trying to find some opportunity to share that feedback in private is a great way to create safety. The second principle under sharing feedback I want to hit on today is this idea about being positive. Really, the goal of providing feedback at the end of the day should be to help an individual grow and develop and to be a better person in the future. And so that is a positive thing, and that's what we want to lead with when we share feedback. A lot of times I think about creating a positivity sandwich. It's this idea that when we go into sharing feedback, we shouldn't just jump straight into like, hey, these are the things that you need to be better. One of the things that we should start first is like, hey, let's talk about the things that are going really well. Here's the things that I'm seeing you do really well, and here's the things that the potential that I see you providing to the team, or the potential I see you providing in your role, right? But then again, the question, there are some opportunities. Do you mind if I share a few things with you today that I think could help you grow and develop? Then we shared that feedback. And then what if we ended it with this idea of positivity? Hey, if we grow and we get these things done, or if we change these attitudes, we change these behaviors, I really do believe that there is a better future opportunity for you, for the business, that there's a better future state if we can commit to getting some of these things done really well. Now, we don't want to sugarcoat everything. We don't want to make sure that they do hear that feedback, but at the end, we want to make sure that they know here's a future state of where you could be if you can focus on some of these behavior or attitude changes. So we want to be positive. The third principle that I want to share under providing feedback is this idea that we want to be specific. At the end of the day, we want to get really specific and give examples of what things and attitude behaviors that they can change, or what situations that we observed, or the opportunities that we observed. We don't want to be broad and say, hey, in general, I think you could be better at listening, or in general, I think you could be better at the way you communicate, right? That is too broad. But if we can give a specific example of saying, hey, I saw your interaction the other day with this person, and there was a couple things that I observed that I think maybe that if you could change these behaviors, that it might make that conversation go a little bit better. Or, hey, the other day, I just had an opportunity to observe you when you're doing the specific activity, and I noticed that if you could change a couple of your actions, that maybe you could be a little bit more efficient, or maybe this thing could be done a little bit better, right? And so we want to be very specific about the feedback that we provide, and also we want to just not share the attitude and behavior changes we want them to do, but really why do we want them to make those changes? How does their actions impact maybe the business? How does it impact a guest or a team member, or even the team as a whole? If people can understand the why behind why they need to change things, and we can get specific about that, it will create more motivation and desire for them to actually change their behavior. So make sure we're specific. The fourth principle we want to talk about providing feedback is to be timely. One of the former presidents of Chick-fil-A, his name was Jimmy Collins. He was a president between the founder, Truett Cathy, and our current CEO, Dan Cathy. And Jimmy Collins, one of the things that he always said was, it was unkind to delay what you eventually intend to deny. Again, let me say that again. It is unkind to delay what you eventually intend to deny. And really broken down, all that statement means is that if you are going to eventually do something, right? If you're eventually going to get onto somebody, or have to discipline, or having to coach somebody for some wrong behaviors, then it is unkind to delay that. You should do that as early as possible and as quick as possible, and provide that feedback when it is still fresh in their minds. To go down a month later and say, hey, a month ago there was something that you did that I really wanted to provide feedback. By that point, it is way too late. We should be sharing feedback sometimes even as early as, within a couple hours, or even within that same day or the next couple of days. But if you start waiting weeks and weeks or months to share feedback, then you are going to catch people off guard. Not only are they not going to remember the things that they did, and they're not going to be able to apply it or understand it, they're going to have a level of frustration with you. Why did you wait this long to share this feedback with me? Why didn't you tell me sooner so I could correct my behavior and do better, right? So we want to be timely with our feedback. And the final thing that we talk about is that we want to be supportive with our feedback. At the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to support those that we're providing feedback to. Sometimes support looks like, hey, have I set the right expectations for you? Do you know what the right attitude or the right behavior or the right actions look like? Do you have the right skills? Have I trained you and have I given you the skills to succeed and to perform the way that I'm asking you to? Maybe do you have the right resources? Have I given you the right resources? Do you have everything that you need available so you can perform to the best of your ability, or perform to the level that I'm asking you to when I'm providing feedback? But really, the fourth thing sometimes that we have to do to be supportive is that we also have to follow up. We have to hold people accountable, and sometimes and oftentimes we have to make sure that we outline the consequences and hold people accountable to the consequences. Sometimes the best thing that we can do to be supportive of somebody is to make sure that we hold them accountable with the consequences, and know, hey, because you haven't done these things, these are the consequences for that, and that helps people and drives them to make sure that they're changing their behaviors and that they're hearing the feedback. Again, I want to highlight these things. 5 principles. If we can make sure that we are creating a safe environment, that we are being positive, we be specific with our feedback, we're timely with our feedback, and we're supportive with our feedback, I truly do believe that you guys can become experts in being truth tellers, experts in being those that share great feedback. And I guarantee you that people will not only not feel scared when you're able to provide them feedback, or feel like worried that you're going to provide them feedback. People will begin to seek you out, and they will want to hear your feedback. They will ask you for your feedback because they know that you're going to do it with excellence, and they know that you're going to do it well. And so I hope this is helpful for you. I also want to share, in the spirit of not only sharing feedback but receiving feedback, one of the things that we're going to roll out is this opportunity on our website at team.cfasouthroads.com, where we are going to give you all the opportunity just to provide another channel for you all to provide us feedback. So if you go to team.cfasouthroads.com and you look under our community, you will find there is an opportunity to share feedback with the leadership team. Now, what this isn't an opportunity for you to go on and just to complain about your job, or just to be a venting session. If there's really things that are that level, we want you to find a leader in our business and directly reach out to them and share those opportunities so we can address that up front. But we do truly believe, hey, maybe there's some opportunities that you like, that you'd like us to see us do better. Maybe there's some things that we're doing that you want to see us continue to do, or maybe there's some things that we're doing that you'd want us to stop doing. Maybe you have questions, generally speaking, about the business. So we want to hear that feedback from you, and moving forward, we want to begin to address that feedback in a fun and creative way where we can actually begin to address some of the questions that you have for us in the business, so that you know that we're hearing that feedback and at least can give you the reasons behind maybe the changes that we're going to make to address it, or maybe some of the things that we have to think through as far as how we can better address some of the feedback that you have. So again, I want to say thank you from the bottom of our heart. I truly, we appreciate what you do in our business day in, day out. You guys are rock stars. And so I hope this is an opportunity for you to grow and sharing feedback with those around you. We appreciate you guys. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and God bless you all.